Alright, Shalom, this is Azimawah. First and foremost, I want to say Call Halayim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Habakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to the Bakiyar, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. As always, it's an honor and privilege to continue to do this work. This is from WallStreetJournal.com. The pandemic is a dress rehearsal. Excuse me. It says 8 months after the novel coronavirus burst out of Wuhan, China, it has created unprecedented economic and social disruption, with economies cratering across the globe and more destruction to come. Tens of millions have lost their jobs, and millions more have seen their life savings disappear as governments force restaurants, bars, and other small businesses to shut their doors. Wealthy societies are able for now to print and pump money in hope of limiting the social and economic damage, but such measures cannot be extended forever. For the first time since the 1940s, political authorities around the world face a flood of economic and political challenges that could overwhelm the safeguards built into the system. In poorer countries, the situation is worse. The pandemic rages unchecked through countries like South Africa and Brazil, where low commodity prices, falling remittances, and falling demand for industrial products are intersecting with capital flight to create an unprecedented economic shock. Countries like Lebanon, Ethiopia, facing grave crises before the pandemic, struggle to maintain basic order. Science will, we must hope, come to the rescue with a vaccine or a cure before our resources are exhausted. But as the world wrings its hands and waits for a Deus ex machina, we must recognize that the end of the pandemic does not mean a return to the relatively stable world of the post-Cold War era. Because this is it, man. We're at the end of a kingdom. Now, if you study history and go back to the time period of the Roman Empire, this is parallel to the same fall in which ancient Rome had, that America is having right now, which this is all orchestrated by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and this was written to happen before the foundation of the earth. I'm going to continue reading. It says, governments and other institutions have always had to deal with difficult challenges that they couldn't predict. Disease, famine, and barbarian invasions fell unexpectedly on societies that often struggled merely to survive. The Industrial Revolution brought new perils like financial panics, the business cycle, and social upheavals. Millions left the land and learned to depend on the modern economy for sustenance. Revolutionary political movements that challenged the old order could be as destructive and mysterious as the plagues and famines of early times. After World War II, as the threat of nuclear war glowed in the background, the assumption that humanity could deal with most natural disasters, health problems, and the business cycle took hold. It wasn't utopia, but life seemed more predictable than in the past. With the fall of the Soviet Union, the threat of nuclear war receded into the background and Western self-confidence reached new heights. Over the past 30 years, the world has developed an intricately organized, massively complex, extraordinarily effective, and extremely dynamic global civilization, which this whole move to this global civilization is to usher in the New World Order, man, which has been the plan for hundreds of years, but when it spoke about the disasters and the different events that are taking place, like disease, famine, so on and so forth, and all these other disasters or things that are happening in the city that the Most High is ordaining, man, and it's going to get worse. This is Isaiah chapter 29, verse 6. Thou shalt be visited, O Yahweh of hosts, with thunder and with earthquake. Now Yahweh himself is not going to come from his throne. He's going to send his son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He's going to send him to do his bidding, to express his righteous anger and vengeance. It says, with earthquake. So this is the ways you're going to be visited. And with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. Yeah, so that's how Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to visit the world, you know. And this is Salakia. This is Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus chapter 29, verse 28. It says, there be spirits. Now everything is a spirit in a sense, or if you really break it down, you know. You can even have certain feelings that can be expressive as being spirits, you know. But there's like, what I'm alluding to is that death is a spirit, you know, famine is a spirit, you know, death, hell, fire, so on and so forth. These beasts, these scorpions, you know. As they say, it's the spirit of death in the air, you know. And all these different spirits are going to have its full, I'll say, pinnacle of strength in these last days, man. Because this is the end, you know. So they're going to operate at their full perfection. This is Sirach chapter 29, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hell and famine and death, all these are created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. Yeah, because there's going to be a lot of judgment that is going to take place in these times, man. You know, it says they shall rejoice in his commandment. So they're going to rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth. So you even have spirits that are lying in wait, man, you know, to be pretty much activated so they can complete their mission. It says, when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. So they're not going to turn back from doing the will in which was commanded onto them by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You know, which this is all going to be happening and being unleashed real soon, man. As you already see what's going on all throughout the world in the news. You had an explosion in Beirut, you know, Lebanon, so which I believe killed 70 people and thousands of more victims that were injured. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Yeah, man. So it's going to produce a spirit of fear in the land of America real soon, man. And not just America, but throughout the whole world, you know. Especially when they come in with the military, they do these forced vaccinations, you know, accompanied with the RFID or NFC microchip. There's going to be some resistance. Certain people are not going to get the chip, and they're going to be cut off from the functioning of this society that they're trying to build. Verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Yeah, 1/3 of the nation of Israel, the Israel, the Most High, you know, they're going to be saved out of this second death scenario, you know, because really this is the second death. Just as Noah was prophesying, people didn't believe that the water was going to flood the earth during the first death. Well, just fast forward to this time that we're in now, the latter days, people don't believe that the earth is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, which is going to be that fire, man. You know, and there's going to be a lot of death that is going to take place that happens on the earth before those missiles start to fly. Verse Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 16. It says, circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, which is your mind, and be no more stiff-necked. Yeah, so don't be stiff-necked. Follow the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Follow his commandments to the best of your ability. You know, especially on this side, we are to recount or to rehearse the righteous acts. Verse 17, it says, for Yahweh our power is the power of the powers, and Lord of lords, a great power, a mighty, and a terrible. Yeah, he's a great power, a mighty, and a terrible. It says, which regardeth not persons, nor taketh reward. He doth execute the judgment of the fatherless and widow, loveth the stranger, and giving him food and raiment. Love you therefore the stranger, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear Yahweh thy power. Him shalt thou serve, and to him thou shalt cleave, and swear by his name. He is thy praise, and he is thy power, that have done for thee these great and terrible things which thy eyes have seen. And we're going to see it again, man. Because in this side, he has to obtain his glory as well, man. You know, so with that, I hope at least one brother of the elect was edified. And I'm going to say shalom.